government is doing next to nothing to help, and a second devastating hurricane is now making its way toward Florida. Right now, that's happening. The situation on the ground there is going from bad to worse. And tone-deaf Kamala Harris thinks that, you know, this week, all of the weeks, is the best time perhaps to do what her campaign is calling a media blitz. They're being generous on that, too. You know, it's kind of hilarious and hilariously out of touch way to describe this, you know, this wave of interviews, because tomorrow she's going on The View. Oh, no. Then The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and The Howard Stern Show on, streaming someplace. 60 Minutes is aired tonight, and it was a nice little softball, although she still flailed about. And then a Univision event on Thursday. Yesterday was on a sex podcast called Call Her Daddy. I Will Not Call Her Daddy. She might as well be interviewed by her campaign manager. Nothing hard-hitting going on there. She spent 78 days hiding from the news media, from the press, only doing a very small handful of hand-picked, cherry-picked interviews with friendly media outlets, which is easy for them to do. Not doing a single press conference in all that time. That'd be too heavy a lift for sure. And after all this time, in the midst of the Helene catastrophe in the southeast and another crippling hurricane on the way, the Harris campaign thinks now is a good week to finally do some fluffy interviews with friendly agents. Ignorant doesn't even begin to explain what we're watching here. Kicking off the blitz was Kamala Harris's appearance on Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy. That's actually the name of the podcast. A podcast for women. Call Her Daddy got a lot of issues. That surged in popularity because of its raunchy conversation about sex. And we'll leave Kamala's husband out of it for the time being. But Kamala's episode was released yesterday, but it was actually taped. They made the videotape last week in the midst of the Helene fallout. And she's doing podcasts, of course, and, the entire interview consisted of softball questions, as you might expect, about abortion and about being a woman. What else?
We're in the final stretch of the election.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
I'm curious, you don't do too many long-form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, and to talk about the things that people really care about.
Can you tell the daddy gang?
Yeah.
When people tell you no, when people look at you and doubt you, what does that ignite in you?
I don't hear no. I don't hear no. And I urge all the daddy gang, don't hear no.
Can you explain and talk about what is actually happening to abortion access right now in this country?
Every state in the South, except for Virginia, has an abortion ban. A bunch of these guys up in these state capitals are writing these decisions because they somehow have decided that they're in a better position to tell you what's in your best interest than you are to know what's in your own best interest.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision?
I know what you're going to ask.
About a man's body.
No.
Is there any law?
No.
Well, there's the draft, I guess. After that nonsense, she then did a train wreck of a phony baloney interview with 60 Minutes.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes,
How are you going to get this through Congress?
you know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. This is exactly why she isn't doing real interviews. You know, even 60 Minutes did the fluffy thing there. She can't handle even the simplest, the easiest, the most obvious of questions. She malfunctions when she's unscripted. Look no further than her rally on Friday in the state of Michigan when her teleprompter stopped working and we watched her malfunction like one of the Stepford wives in real time. Beware, this video is actually a little bit hard to watch.
Remember his number? 32. Today we got 32 days until the election. So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. We got some business to do. All right. 32 days. And we know we will do it. And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race until the very end. We are the underdog, and we know we have some hard work ahead.
I think 32 days. Did I hear that correctly? It was 32 days on Friday. That's pretty amazing stuff. Just humiliating at this point. And the Harris campaign has grossly miscalculated this fake media blitz. Kamala Harris is currently the vice president of the United States. She's, supposed to be taking care of the victims this hurricane zone, and that probably should be her priority over campaigning at this point. But never mind that. And this unnatural and clearly staged video of her putting together supplies during her very brief visit to North Carolina last week. This is not it. This is not what solves the problem. The uselessness of her being there, the awkward laughing and cackling. How long after they stopped filming did Kamala leave? Well, it was 2 minutes. She stayed for 2 minutes. It was all about the photo op and cackling and a little staged event, and then you're out of there within a matter of seconds. A real leader vying to be the president of the United States of America and the leader of the free world would not spend this crucial week being shopped around to unserious interviews. A real leader would actually have their eye on the storm, and Kamala's eyes are way, way off of the storm.